The hidden truth. The discovery. Dr. Vexhai adjusted his scanning equipment for the third time that morning, his six-fingered hands moving with practiced precision across the alien device. The crystalline formations on his blue-scaled forehead glowed softly as he concentrated, a sure sign of deep focus among his species, the Kethmeri. For over 2 decades, he had served as the Galactic Federation's chief archaeologist, documenting the ruins of extinct civilizations across the known galaxy. Today's assignment should have been routine. Catalog the remains of Earth, the dead world of the supposedly extinct human species. The official records were clear. 500 years ago, Earth had gone silent during the Great Purge, when the savage Drakmor Empire had swept through this sector of space, eliminating what they considered inferior species. The humans, barely having achieved faster-than-light travel, were presumed wiped out along with dozens of other young civilizations. Earth had become nothing more than a tomb world, a monument to the cruelty of the now-defeated Drakmor. Yet something was wrong with the readings. Impossible, Vexhai muttered in his native tongue, his voice carrying the melodic tones characteristic of the Kethmeri. His scanning equipment was detecting energy signatures far too complex for a dead world. The readings suggested not just life, but organized, technological life operating on a massive scale beneath the planet's surface. Captain Zilthera of the Federation survey vessel Harmony's Edge materialized beside him in a shimmer of teleportation technology. Her tall, graceful form cast a shadow over his equipment as she leaned down to examine the readings. The Altarian's silver skin reflected the sunlight streaming through the observation deck's transparent aluminum windows. "What have you found, old friend?" she asked, her voice carrying the subtle harmonic undertones that made Altarian speech so pleasant to most species' ears. Vexhai's head crystals pulsed brighter, betraying his excitement and confusion. "These readings suggest a massive subterranean civilization, Zyle. Not ruins. Not remnants. Active settlements spanning entire continents, connected by what appears to be an incredibly sophisticated transportation network." Zilthera's elegant features shifted into what humans might have recognized as a frown. "That's impossible. Our long-range sensors detected no artificial structures, no energy emissions, no spacecraft traffic. This system has been monitored continuously for the past century as part of our archaeological survey program." "Then either our long-range sensors are far less accurate than we believed," Vexhai replied, adjusting his equipment again, "or someone has developed technology sophisticated enough to fool the entire Galactic Federation for 5 centuries. The implications of that second possibility sent a chill through both officers. The Federation prided itself on being the most technologically advanced alliance in known space, combining the innovations of over 300 member species. The idea that any civilization could remain hidden from their sensors for so long was not just unlikely, it was terrifying. The underground marvel. 15 kilometers beneath the surface of Earth, in a vast cavern that had been carefully hollowed out over generations, Captain Sarah Chen stood before a massive holographic display showing the Federation ship in orbit above. Her dark eyes, sharp with intelligence gained through decades of leading humanity's greatest secret, tracked the movements of the alien vessel with practiced calm. At 45, Sarah had spent her entire adult life preparing for this moment. Born into the 3rd generation of the Hidden Protocol, she had been trained from childhood to command humanity's secret civilization when the time came to reveal themselves to the galaxy. That time, it seemed, had finally arrived. "How long before they penetrate our camouflage layers?" she asked the figure standing beside her. Commander Marcus Torres, her second-in-command and childhood friend, consulted his neural interface. The soft blue glow behind his eyes dimmed as he processed the incoming data from Earth's vast network of hidden sensors. "Araya estimates we have perhaps 6 hours before their deep scanning equipment becomes sophisticated enough to detect our primary cities. The archaeological team is using equipment we haven't seen before." Sarah nodded thoughtfully. Araya, the Advanced Reasoning and Intelligence Array, was humanity's greatest achievement during their centuries of hiding. What had begun as a simple artificial intelligence had evolved into something far more sophisticated, a digital consciousness that served as the nexus of human civilization's hidden infrastructure. AI. Sarah spoke aloud, addressing the omnipresent AI that monitored every aspect of their underground world. "Yes, Captain Chen," came the response, the voice seeming to emerge from the air itself. Araya had long ago learned to modulate her voice to provide maximum comfort to whoever she was addressing. To Sarah, she sounded like a combination of her late mother and her favorite professor from the academy. Analysis of the alien archaeological team. What are we dealing with? The lead scientist is Dr. Vexhai of the Keth-Mary species, a highly respected archaeologist with over 2 decades of experience documenting extinct civilizations. His companion is Captain Zylthura, an Altarian with an exemplary service record. Neither shows signs of hostile intent. However, their scanning equipment is more advanced than our previous intelligence suggested. Sarah moved to the central command platform, her boots clicking against the polished metal floor. Around her, the command center hummed with quiet activity as hundreds of technicians monitored every aspect of their hidden civilization. Holographic displays showed the status of underground cities scattered across 6 continents, each one home to millions of humans who had never seen natural sunlight. "Show me the surface camouflage status," she commanded. The air above the platform filled with a 3-dimensional representation of Earth as it appeared to outside observers. To alien eyes, the planet looked exactly as it should, a world recovering from ecological devastation, with scattered ruins of human civilization slowly being reclaimed by nature. Forests had regrown over the bombed cities. Oceans had been carefully restored to their natural patterns. Even the orbital debris from humanity's last desperate space battles had been meticulously arranged to tell the story of a civilization's final moments. But beneath this carefully constructed facade lay the truth. Humanity had not died. They had adapted. The Great Deception. The plan had been conceived in humanity's darkest hour, when the Drakmor Empire began their systematic extermination of inferior species. Earth's leaders had faced an impossible choice: fight and certainly die, or disappear and possibly survive. They had chosen a third option that no other species had ever attempted: fake their own extinction, while secretly preparing for the day they could emerge stronger than ever. The early years had been the hardest. Millions of humans had sacrificed themselves in staged battles, ensuring that enough evidence of humanity's defeat would satisfy Drakmor investigators. Meanwhile, the majority of Earth's population had retreated underground, using technology salvaged from their defeated orbital installations to begin the greatest construction project in human history. 500 years of secret development had transformed humanity in ways that even they were still discovering. Freed from the need to compete with other species, they had turned their legendary adaptability inward, engineering solutions to problems that had plagued human civilization for millennia. They had eliminated scarcity through perfect recycling and molecular manufacturing. They had ended disease through genetic modification that enhanced rather than replaced their essential humanity. They had achieved a level of social cooperation that would have seemed impossible to their ancestors. Most importantly, they had learned to think like a species rather than as competing nations or ideologies. "Captain," Marcus said, interrupting her thoughts, "ARIA is detecting increased scanning activity. They're specifically focusing on the North American underground network." Sarah felt a familiar tightness in her chest. New Geneva, humanity's largest underground city, lay directly beneath the area the aliens were scanning. Home to over 50 million people, it represented the heart of human civilization's rebirth. If the Federation discovered it, there would be no hiding humanity's true nature. "Options?" she asked. "We could activate the quantum scramblers," Marcus suggested. "Make their readings so chaotic they'll assume equipment malfunction." "That would only delay the inevitable," Sarah replied. "And it might make them more suspicious. What about the alternative?" Marcus hesitated. "The Council hasn't approved revealing ourselves yet, The vote isn't scheduled for another 3 months. Sarah looked at the display showing the alien ship above them. Dr. Vexhai was clearly brilliant, and his captain seemed competent. They would figure out the truth eventually, and when they did, humanity would lose the advantage of controlling how that revelation occurred. HFY, convene an emergency session of the council. Full neural conference, all city representatives. Within minutes, Sarah found herself standing in a virtual amphitheater, surrounded by the projected images of humanity's leaders from across the globe. The Council of Cities had governed human civilization for over 3 centuries, making decisions through a combination of democratic processes and advanced AI analysis that ensured optimal outcomes for the species as a whole. President Elena Vasquez of New Geneva spoke first, her image flickering slightly as her neural implant synchronized with the global network. Captain Chin, Araya has briefed us on the situation. This is happening faster than our projections suggested. The question, added Director Liu Wei from the Asian Deep Cities, is whether we're ready for revelation. Our military preparations are complete, but the psychological impact on our population hasn't been fully analyzed. Sarah addressed the assembled leaders with the confidence born of lifelong preparation. We've spent 5 centuries preparing for this moment. We knew it would come eventually. The only question is whether we reveal ourselves on our terms or theirs. The debate that followed was intense but brief. Humanity had learned to make decisions quickly during their centuries of hiding. Within an hour, the vote was unanimous. It was time for humanity to reveal itself to the galaxy. But not as supplicants or refugees, as equals or perhaps something more. The moment of truth. Dr. Vexhai was recalibrating his equipment for the 4th time when something extraordinary happened. His readings didn't gradually improve or suddenly spike. Instead, they transformed completely, as if someone had simply turned off a massive cloaking device that had been hiding an entire civilization. By the 7 suns, he whispered, his voice filled with awe and disbelief. Where moments before his sensors had detected scattered energy signatures, they now reveal the technological marvel that defied belief. Massive cities connected by transport networks that spanned continents, energy generation systems that operated on principles his advanced education couldn't begin to explain, population centers that suggested billions of inhabitants living in perfect harmony with their environment. Captain Zilthera rushed to his side, her silver skin flickering with the color changes that indicated extreme agitation among her species. What is it? What's changed? They turned off their camouflage, Vexhai said, his voice barely above a whisper. They've been hiding from us. All this time, they've been hiding from us. Before Zilthera could respond, their ship's communication system activated. A voice spoke in perfect galactic standard, the universal language developed by the Federation's linguists over millennia of interspecies contact. But there was something about the accent, something uniquely musical and precise, that neither had ever heard before. Federation Vessel Harmony's Edge, this is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Command. We apologize for the deception, but it was necessary for our people's survival. We request permission to come aboard for first contact protocols. We have much to discuss. Zilthera and Vexhai stared at each other in shock. The implications were staggering. Not only had humans survived the Great Purge, but they had developed technology sophisticated enough to hide from the Federation's most advanced sensors for 5 centuries. The species that the galaxy had mourned as extinct had been watching them the entire time. This is Captain Zilthera of the Harmony's Edge. She finally managed to respond. Permission granted for first contact. We welcome you aboard. As the communication ended, Vexhai was already working frantically at his console, trying to understand what they had just discovered. The readings were unlike anything in the Federation's databases. Human technology hadn't just survived. It had evolved along completely different lines than anything the galaxy had seen before. Zyle, he said, his voice trembling with excitement and fear, I don't think we're dealing with refugees or survivors. I think we're dealing with the most advanced civilization in known space. Above them, barely detectable even now, that they knew to look for it. A small craft separated from what appeared to be empty space and began its approach to the Federation vessel. Humanity was about to introduce itself to the galaxy, and nothing would ever be the same. Contact. The shuttle that docked with the Harmony's Edge was unlike anything in the Federation's extensive databases of spacecraft design. It appeared to be constructed from a single piece of seamless material that shifted between metallic and organic properties as Captain Zilthera watched through the observation port. No visible engines, no apparent propulsion system, yet it maneuvered with precision that exceeded the capabilities of the Federation's most advanced fighters. "How is it moving?" Dr. Vexhai asked, his scanning equipment failing to detect any conventional energy signatures from the craft. "I have no idea," Zilthera admitted, her silver skin flickering through shades of blue and purple, colors that indicated both fascination and deep concern among her species. "Our sensors can barely detect it even when we know exactly where to look." The docking process occurred without any of the usual mechanical sounds or atmospheric pressure changes. One moment the shuttle was approaching, the next it was simply connected, as if the two vessels had always been joined. The Federation officers exchanged worried glances. Technology that advanced suggested capabilities that could render their most powerful weapons useless. Captain Sarah Chen stepped through what had appeared to be solid metal moments before, the material flowing like liquid to allow her passage before solidifying again. She moved with the confident grace of someone accustomed to command, her dark hair pulled back in a practical style, her uniform bearing symbols that Vexhai recognized as evolved versions of ancient human military insignia. Behind her came two companions, a tall man with the bearing of a career soldier, and a woman whose eyes held the subtle glow that indicated advanced neural augmentation. Both carried themselves with the quiet alertness of highly trained professionals. "Captain Zilthera, Dr. Vexhai," Sarah said, extending her hand in the ancient human gesture of greeting. "I'm Captain Sarah Chen, Earth Defense Command. This is Commander Marcus Torres, my tactical advisor, and Dr. Lisa Park, our xenobiological specialist." Zilthera performed the formal Altarian greeting, a graceful gesture that involved precise movements of both hands. "We are honored by this contact, Captain Chen. Though I must admit, we have many questions about your people's circumstances." Sarah smiled, and both aliens were struck by how the expression transformed her features. There was warmth there, but also a sharp intelligence that missed nothing. "I'm sure you do. Perhaps we should begin with the most obvious question. Yes, humanity survived the Great Purge. We've been living beneath Earth's surface for the past 500 years, watching and learning." "Watching and learning," Vexhai repeated, his head crystals pulsing with nervous energy. "You've been observing the galaxy all this time." "Among other things," Dr. Park replied, her augmented eyes shifting to focus on each of the Federation officers in turn. "We've been monitoring galactic communications, studying technological developments, tracking political changes. We needed to understand what kind of galaxy we would eventually emerge into." Commander Torres stepped forward, his expression serious. "But observation was only part of our mission. We've also been preparing." "Preparing for what?" Zilthera asked, though she suspected she already knew the answer. "For the day we would need to defend not just humanity, but the galaxy itself," Sarah replied. "Would you like to see what we've accomplished?" The demonstration. The tour of Earth that followed shattered every assumption the Federation had made about human civilization. Using transporters that operated on principles neither Zilthera nor Vexhai could comprehend, they were taken to New Geneva, humanity's primary underground city. The scope was breathtaking. A cavern that stretched beyond the horizon, filled with soaring structures that combined organic curves with geometric precision. Millions of humans moved through the city using personal flight devices that seemed to respond to thought rather than mechanical controls. Gardens floated in midair, their plants growing in carefully controlled gravity fields that created stunning three-dimensional landscapes. "The population?" Vexhai asked, his archaeological training making him automatically catalog what he was seeing. New Geneva houses 53 million people, Dr. Park replied. It's one of 12 major cities, with hundreds of smaller settlements throughout our underground network. Total human population is approximately 8.7 billion. Zilthera felt her knees weaken. 8 billion. But the historical records suggest Earth's population was only 7 billion before the Great Purge. Population growth accelerated once we eliminated scarcity, Sarah explained, leading them through a park where children played games that involved manipulating light and gravity. Perfect recycling, unlimited clean energy, complete control over our environment. We also extended human lifespan significantly while maintaining perfect health throughout. The technological demonstrations that followed left both Federation officers speechless. Humans had developed matter manipulation technology that could restructure materials at the molecular level. Their energy systems drew power directly from quantum fluctuations in space itself, providing unlimited clean energy. Most remarkably, they had created a form of consciousness networking that allowed instant communication and coordination across their entire civilization without any detectable signals. But how? Vexai asked after watching a human engineer casually restructure a section of wall by simply touching it. Our best theories suggest this level of matter manipulation should be impossible without massive energy expenditures. Dr. Park smiled. You're thinking about it wrong. You're trying to force matter to change. We learned to ask it nicely. I don't understand, Zilthera said. Consciousness isn't separate from physical reality, Sarah explained. It's part of the same unified field. Once we understood that, we could interface directly with matter itself, not through crude mechanical force, but through what you might call harmonious cooperation. Marcus gestured to the city around them. This is what humans become when we're not busy fighting each other or competing for resources, when we work together toward common goals. The greater threat. The most shocking revelation came during their visit to Earth's monitoring stations. In a vast chamber filled with displays showing real-time information about every corner of the galaxy, Sarah revealed the truth about humanity's long isolation. We didn't just hide to survive, she said, her expression growing serious. We were preparing for something the galaxy hasn't recognized yet. A massive holographic display activated, showing what appeared to be empty space at the galaxy's edge. But as the resolution increased, dark shapes became visible, structures of impossible size drifting in the void between galaxies. The Devourers, Dr. Park said quietly. We detected them about 200 years ago. They're not like anything the galaxy has faced before. They don't conquer civilizations. They consume them. Everything. Matter, energy, even information itself. Vexay's crystals dimmed as he processed the implications. How many? Thousands of ships, each one larger than a Federation battle station, Marcus replied. They're following the galaxy's rotation, systematically consuming everything in their path. At current speed, they'll reach the outer rim in approximately 50 years. Zilthera felt cold despite her ship's perfect environmental controls. Why haven't our long-range sensors detected them? Because they exist partially outside normal spacetime, Sarah explained. We can only detect them because we learned to look beyond three-dimensional reality during our development of consciousness technology. The implications were staggering. The Federation's most advanced civilizations were preparing for conflicts with each other, completely unaware that an existential threat was approaching from outside the galaxy entirely. But you've been preparing to fight them, Zilthera said. It wasn't a question. Sarah nodded. Everything we've built, every technology we've developed, every human we've trained, it's all been designed with one purpose: defending this galaxy against the Devourers. The New Alliance. The war room deep beneath New Geneva was a testament to humanity's preparation. Holographic displays showed detailed battle plans covering scenarios the Federation's military strategists had never imagined. Weapon systems that could manipulate spacetime itself. Defensive technologies that could hide entire star systems. Ships that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, making them nearly impossible to target or destroy. We estimate we have 50 years to prepare the galaxy's defenses, Sarah said, addressing the emergency session of Federation representatives that had been hastily assembled via quantum communication. That sounds like a long time, but against the Devours, it's barely enough. Admiral Korthax of the Federation Defense Force, his reptilian features showing skepticism, asked the question everyone was thinking. Why should we trust you? Your species has deceived the entire galaxy for 5 centuries. Because, Marcus replied, activating a display that showed Earth's defensive capabilities, we don't need your trust to defend ourselves. We need your cooperation to defend you. The demonstration that followed proved his point beyond any doubt. Humanity had developed weapons that could destroy planets, shields that could protect entire star systems, and most incredibly, the ability to move through space-time in ways that made conventional military thinking obsolete. The question isn't whether humanity can defend Earth, Sarah said as the displays showed simulated battles between human forces and theoretical Devourer fleets. The question is whether we can defend the galaxy's 300-member species while they're still learning to fight an enemy they can't even detect. Dr. Vexhai, who had remained quiet throughout the military briefings, finally spoke. This changes everything. Not just first contact protocols, but our understanding of reality itself. Your species has evolved beyond anything we thought possible. We had motivation, Dr. Park replied. 500 years ago, we were nearly extinct. That experience taught us that survival isn't just about protecting yourself. It's about becoming strong enough to protect others. The future begins. The emergency session of the Galactic Federation Council was unlike any in their 1,000-year history. For the first time, they faced not just a new member species, but one that was technologically superior to their entire alliance combined. More challenging still, humanity was requesting not membership, but partnership in defending against a threat that most species couldn't even comprehend. The debate raged for hours. Some representatives argued for caution, suggesting that humanity's long deception proved they couldn't be trusted. Others pointed out that humans had revealed themselves voluntarily and were offering to share technology that could revolutionize galactic civilization. It was Ambassador Telequin of the ancient ethereal collective who finally spoke the words that ended the debate. They could have remained hidden. They could have let the Devourers consume us while protecting only themselves. Instead, they revealed their greatest secrets to save civilizations that never knew they existed. What more proof of good faith could we ask for? The vote was closer than Sarah had hoped, but sufficient for moving forward. The Galaxy Earth Defense Alliance was established by a margin of 3 votes, making humanity not just a member of the galactic community, but its primary protector. Standing in the observation deck of New Geneva 6 months later, Sarah watched as the first Federation vessels arrived to begin joint training exercises. Human and alien engineers worked side by side, combining technologies that neither could have imagined alone. The galaxy's greatest military minds studied alongside human strategists who had spent centuries preparing for a war no one else knew was coming. "Do you think we'll be ready in time?" Marcus asked, joining her at the observation port. Sarah watched a Federation battlecruiser slowly transform as human technicians integrated consciousness interface technology into its weapon systems. In the distance, alien fighters practiced maneuvers that defied conventional physics under the guidance of human pilots. "We have to be," she replied. 50 years of preparation isn't enough, but it's what we have. The galaxy's survival depends on how well we can teach 300 different species to think like humans. And if we can't? Sarah's expression grew thoughtful as she considered the question. Above them, the first generation of hybrid warships, vessels that combined the best of human and Federation technology, began their initial test flights. In training facilities across dozens of worlds, aliens learned to interface with consciousness-based technologies, while humans adapted Federation strategies to quantum warfare. "Then we'll adapt," she said finally. "It's what humans do best. And now, it's what the galaxy will learn to do too." The Great Deception was over. Humanity had revealed itself not as a lost civilization, but as the galaxy's unlikely savior. The real test would come when the Devourers arrived and discovered that their next meal had learned to fight back. In the depths of space, Aria's sensors detected the first subtle changes in the cosmic background radiation that indicated the approaching threat. The countdown had begun, but for the first time in galactic history, someone was counting back.